Alright, today I'm going to be working on the fuel system for the 69 Camaro. To recap on what we found, so the fuel pump was mounted under the fender back there, which is too far from the fuel tank and too high. So generally you're not supposed to put the fuel pump above the fuel tank so that fuel can flow to it as needed. If it's too high, then you'll get scavenging and it won't pull efficiently from the tank. So this is the old fuel pump that we pulled off the car. It's a Chinese no-name deal, and this is the regulator that was on it, just a deadhead style Holly. This system is not capable of providing fuel to a 500 horsepower motor, which is our goal. This motor right now is about like 250 horsepower on a good day. So the customer is not satisfied with that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some AFR heads on it, better carb, and raise the compression a little bit so we can achieve that goal. But this fuel system is not capable of providing fuel to that. So also the fuel system is not a return style, so if the customer wanted to add fuel injection later on, he doesn't have to redo the whole fuel system in order to do that. So it'll save him a little bit money in the end if he ever decided to do that. This is the old fuel line that was on it. I had to cut it off in order to take it out, so that was a bit of a pain. So now I'm going to put some -6 steel braided fuel line onto it from Aeromotive. So it's a really nice fuel line, so that should last a long time. The fuel pump that I'm going to use is I don't know how to pronounce it, Deechworks, whatever. So it's 100 psi and it flows about 67 gallons per hour. So that should be enough to provide fuel to a 500 horsepower motor. This is an Aeromotive return style regulator from 3 to 60 something psi. I forget what it is. Regulator. So we'll be using this. I'll have to make another bracket for this to mount it, but let me go show you what my plan is. So what I plan to do for this is I'm gonna have a 180 come off here to the fuel line, sit about right here, something like that. It'll run down behind the valve covers, and then this fuel regulator will sit about let's see, about right here. I'll have to make a bracket for it, but I'm gonna use this hole so I don't have to drill more holes in the firewall. So we're gonna do that. So the return will be down there. It'll shoot straight down to the frame rail right there. This will be the pickup, so the pump will push fuel into that end, go to that end up to the carb, and then, like I said, the return will be down there. So for the tank, I'll have to drop it and put a -6 bung in it, and then what I can do is I'm going to mount the fuel pump around somewhere around right there. So that'll be nice, out of the way. Nothing will interfere with it, so nothing will hit. Be nice, out of the way. I'll have 2 hoses coming from the tank. So one to supply the pump and another for the return. And they'll run down here and back up to the regulator. Alright, so now that we know what the plan is, let's go ahead and execute. What are you doing to this?
So this is the K5 crossmember. It's all welded up, ready to go, except for the fact I need to install bushings for the transmission mount so it's not solid mounted. Because you know the engine torques and the transmission needs some degree of freedom. So yeah. We're going to modify these.
What are those?
These are end link bushings, the sway bar bushings.
Yeah.
So there'll be one below, one on the top, and then it'll allow some degree of freedom so it can flex. But at first I need to drill out the holes for the camera boards. This is a 7/8 drill bit. I'll have to make an adapter, turn it over, and put a 1-inch hole on the back side so I can get a socket in there to mount to compress the bushings. So. The things that we were using are the, what are they, Red Horse?
Yeah.
Red Horse? I was going to say Dark Horse. They're Red Horse. So they have a lip on the inside.
Two.
That is it 2 lips?
Yeah, 2 lips. That's what it's
Yeah. So it's kind of like an inverted barb fitting. It's really hard to get the Earls, or not the Earls, but the Aeroquip line, steel braided line in there without poking yourself. Anyone that's ever worked on steel braided line,
yeah, knows
you can't do a system unless you have at least 40 poke holes in your finger.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, yesterday we machined up this aluminum, I could call it an adapter, and that'll help keep it together. So when we push the fitting on, the braid doesn't expand and kind of push back. So I'm going to add another measure here. I like to use electrical tape to help keep everything kind of together. And then let's see if this will work. Should work pretty well, but we'll see. Okay, so that's that. I usually gotta use a cutoff wheel because it's faster and it doesn't fray the line as much. The hose is butted up against the fitting on the inside. I don't know if you can see that or not. But. So now this tapered end will actually go inside the hose on the ID and push out and lock it against those two inverted not flares, but the inverted hose barbs.
to show the people what you did?
Show the people.
The people.
All right. Since the car's in the air, we can look at the bottom first.
You go from the back to the front, or?
Yeah, that might be better.
Okay.
So the tank's not in yet. That's why you see line curled up here.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So, let's see. Inlet right here from the tank. Fuel filter goes into the fuel pump. And then this line is the return. So we have a return now. Before it didn't have that. Goes down here along the frame rail or body or whatever.
Looks good.
Comes over here. I was gonna run it down here, but that would be the low point, and you don't really want to, mess your fuel line up if you go over a speed bump or something. Let's see. We got another fuel filter after the pump before it goes into the regulator and goes up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So on this installation, one thing that I think sets us apart from all shops, if not most, we don't use blind bolts. So we use rivet nuts, and what that does is it gives you the ability to always take these off without having like a finished look. If we try to use nuts on the ends of these bolts, then we would have to drill through the carpet. Right? Did I say blind nuts?
Yeah.
Not blind. So like an open face nut. If you drill through the floor, you have to take the carpet out. How do you get a nut on the inside? Right? You have to take all the seats out,
Yeah.
carpet, the heat shielding, everything. So it's not what you want to do. So these are actually they go inside we drill a hole, we put this insert in, and it's a special tool, and it collapses and it grips it around the hole, so it's watertight. And then when you want to take it apart, you just take the screw out, and then it just comes out. Put a washer on it. Not a big deal. The back side you can actually see over here. This is what it looks like. Right there. See how it basically swedges around that hole, and basically it'll capture it. So that's what we use in all of the fasteners. The fastener material composition is stainless steel, so it won't rust. That's all good. That's it.
That's all he's gonna say.
That's all I say about that.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it for underneath.
These cushion clamps as well, they're aluminum, so they won't rust. Yes, these are fuel lines. The system that I had before was called like a deadhead style. So it had the pump was in the wrong spot to begin with, but what it was designed initially to do is the pump, it pushes about 7 psi to a regulator. The regulator regulates that pressure. But when you're not using, let's say you're not full throttle or you're just idling, a lot of that pressure, the pump just basically, it's banging against that regulator. It's not, the fuel flow is very, very small. So what it does is it heats up the fuel, and it just heats it up. So this system is better because it actually allows the fuel to constantly flow, and whatever you're not using goes directly to the tank. So it just goes to the tank, so everything stays cool. So you don't have to worry about vapor lock or the pump cavitating. It should have a very long service life. So the Chevelle had a deadhead style pump, and it would every once in a while it would stop working or it would overheat. So just not a good system. Or if you're going to do fuel injection, this system is already done. So all you have to do is just set it on there and you're done. Mm-hmm. So besides the wire. But yeah, so even let's go on the top side.
Okay, so when it was plumbed before, the fuel pump was back here and the regulator was just dangling over
the
here.
header?
No, kind of over the header, yeah. So it was never mounted.
Hold that thought. One thing to note is with that style regulator, the diaphragm is open. So when they break, it just pours fuel out. So when the diaphragm breaks, it'll just pour fuel over the headers, and your car that is $100,000 is now worth zero. If it doesn't kill you. Anyway, sorry, right.
Yeah, so okay, so from here we added a 180 bend. Then this the hose goes to the regulator.
That's not a 180. That's a 187.
Yeah. And then this line is the supply, and this line down here is the return. And then we have our relays. The relays are already mounted, so I just ran a wire from it, but I upped the gauge. So it's behind the battery, runs behind the fender, and then I put a cushion clamp back here. I put a cushion clamp back here so that the wire doesn't, just bounce around.
Chafe.
Well, there's nothing to really chafe on, but
Just floating.
but yeah, just floating.
And use power braid, right?
Yeah, I use power braid on the wire so that one, you can't really, it's not an eyesore, and two, when you run it next to this stainless steel braided line, it won't basically cut the sheathing off and start arcing and cause a fire. So
You like these new fender covers we got?
Nice.
These are
Did Edelbrock send them to you?
Yep. No, but they're nice. It's very it's worrying when you have a nice paint job like this. You just gotta be super careful and diligent that you don't scratch anything. So we got these nice fender covers. We already had stuff, but it's better than towels. Anyways, so now you want to set the pressure.
Yep. All right, ready?
Yep. All right, so now we're at 5. You see?
That's 6 right there. We'll leave it there. Maybe like 6.5. Do 6.5 because when it's running, it'll actually use a little bit more fuel. All right, that's it. Actually, the pump's not that loud.
We'll come back here and check it out. It's not too bad. You won't even hear it when it's running. Perfect. All right. It's good. You got about 6.5. All the hard parts done.
And what are you guys doing to the fuel tank?
Putting a bung in it so that we
Put a
can
bung in it?
attach the fuel line, the return, because the tank doesn't have a return,
Okay.
so we had to modify it to do that.
What are we gonna do next? Stop the tank in, and then we gotta pull the heads, and then we have to CC the heads. Well, not the head. Yeah, we'll CC the heads, and we'll CC the domes on the pistons to see what heads we actually need to get to go from 90 psi of cranking pressure to about 180. We're going to probably run a set of AFR eliminator. I think maybe 195s. Maybe 195s. Those are CNC ported. They're CNC. The combustion chambers are CNC finished. Bronze valve guides. I think they're 202s, probably 194s. They're really, really good heads. So, but we'll have to port match the intake. So that's a Chinese intake. We'll have to port match that to the
Procom?
Yeah. To the AFRs. AFRs are typically a little bit taller, but we'll also have to mess with the exhaust. So because they welded the whole system together, we're gonna chop it up and redo it. You ain't making 500 horsepower with a 2 1/4 inch exhaust. Nope, not gonna happen. So we're gonna set it up so that it actually works well.
Nice.
But yeah, that's next on the agenda. So we'll have to pull this thing apart. All right, that's it for today. Nope, not it. Chevelle's next. So before we go see the Chevelle, I just wanted to show how awesome these control arms are. The swing or trailing. I always call them swing arms. Trailing arms. So this is the cross member for the transfer case here. Painted it yesterday. I think Eric will like that, right?
That looks
cool.
nice.
The other control arms in the house.
In the house?
Yeah, it's in my room. I didn't have anywhere to set it.
Wow.
I didn't want it to fall down. But it has the bushing in it already, and not this one, the one in the house. And it has the end link already. Looks cool, huh? Legit. So we have the upper shock mounts here. They're being pulled out because I'm going to increase the space, so we have more flexibility with the shock, and we're going to add another one of those, make another one of those, and then we're going to. I had to. Oh, you know, I actually just look. Look at this. There you go. So, both of the floors, both holes in the floor are different sizes, right? So this one was cut. You can see it's cut at an angle. Mm-hmm. So they just like, I think Ray Charles did it.
You butchered
like drunk, because with his feet. And then the thing is, like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this open a little bit further so we can have more room, and then I'm going to square everything up so they're both the same both sides. But I just had to demonstrate for the people the butchery that happens. The butchery that happens at some shops. It's pretty crazy. But I mean, they just didn't even care. So we're gonna try and square this hole up so it's nice and even with the other side. That side's already done. I don't want to open up too big, but